Original post by Timely Possible 9467. Am I the a-hole for not letting a service dog into my party? I, 29 male, hosted a pumpkin carving party for my friends and I this past weekend, and the decision I made is causing drama amongst us. The party was indoors, as it's still nearly 100 degrees during the day where I'm at. I dislike cats and dogs, any and all. My friends know this. Primarily, I think they are filthy. I want nothing to do with them because of that. A buddy and his current fling, early relationship girlfriend, or however you want to define it, showed up. She has a golden retriever with her. I did not know this dog was coming. No one ran this by me. I would have said no. I pulled him aside and told him the dog had to go. He says if the dog has to go, she has to go, and then I have to go. I just say, come on man, you should know better than to bring a dog to my house. He said it's a service animal, apparently for diabetes. He thought it would be different. I said no, it might be medically helping her, but it's still a faking animal. He starts arguing, but I maintain my stance. I offered to keep it in the garage with the AC on. He goes and talks to his girl and she looks annoyed. I felt bad about that, but they opted to leave. He lets me know I'm an a-hole. My friends were all split on how I handle it. So, am I the a-hole? I'm going to say yeah, I'd say you're the a-hole in this. I understand it's your house and you weren't pre-warned, so I'll give you that much. It's obviously if you don't like cats and dogs, animals, whatever, that's fine. I do understand that. But you do have to also understand that it's a service animal. I mean, this poor girl obviously has severe diabetes if she needs a dog to be with her to identify when she's got insulin issues. So it can't be nice for her to be met with hostility when she goes certain places, which she probably still is. And the last place she probably thinks is just going to somebody's house that she can't take her dog, which, let's be honest, if it's a service dog, it is going to be the best trained dog that you're going to find in your house ever. Anybody's going to get, because they don't allow service dogs to be service dogs unless they're trained to a really, really high standard. So the fact that you couldn't just make a small compromise for a couple of hours for one of your friends and his girlfriend, yeah, I can't see how you're not the a-hole in that situation. People might disagree with me. Maybe they'll say that, you know, you've obviously not been pre-warned and they know you don't like animals and whatnot, but let's take it in isolation. Take it for what it is. Let's really boils down to this dog that is a necessity for this girl and you can't accommodate for a couple of hours. It's kind of a-hole move. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Original post by LazyBar2845. Am I the a-hole for refusing to put from mum and dad on my son's birthday card or reminding him that it was our kid's birthday? So I'll try to keep it short. My ex and I had issues we're now divorced. One of the big ones was he thought he was a great father, but in reality, it's just how I presented him. If I planned a whole party, I would say it was from us both. He would forget and then piggyback off of all my work. My son's birthday is this weekend, and I had the kids, and did a party, got the gifts, and so on. Now, halfway through the day, since there was no call from him to wish our kid happy birthday, it became obvious that he'd forgot. He absolutely noticed, I'm assuming that's your son, by the end of the day and was quite sad. I told him he will be seeing him tomorrow and maybe he has a surprise. Well, nothing. He didn't plan a thing, and he only remembered after our son basically yelled at him for forgetting. We got in a huge argument on the phone about me being petty that I didn't throw his name on a card or even remind him when it was clear he had forgot. I don't see why I should, since he's a grown adult and he should step up. He thinks I'm a huge jerk. My mum got involved and told me I should have done it for the sake of my kid. Am I the a-hole? Right. Well, there's no one looking good in this situation, if I'm honest, because at the end of the day, the priority is the child, and the child is the one who's suffering from it. But I have to say, I'm sympathetic with with OP, because at the end of the day, they've obviously been divorced. Going by the context of what's written here, you can only assume that the dad is a bit of a deadbeat dad. And the only reason I can kind of back that up is, as a father myself, I've forgotten one or two things over the years, but there's something that I would never forget, and that's my kid's birthday. It's not even, you wouldn't even get close to missing that. So the fact that he can't even remember his child's birthday is really, really poor. And it does show what type of person you are if you can't remember your child's birthday, particularly when they're young. The only thing I would say is the OP hasn't put in the post what age the child is, and I know some people might not think that's relevant, but if the child's really young, then you could have the argument and say, well, do you know what, just put his name on a card, tell him, dad wishes you a happy birthday and whatnot, just because these things can be sort of mental milestones, and it really can kind of scar them, and you obviously don't want that. It's the lesser of two evils, if you like. So if the kid's a bit older, a teenager, which he probably is if he's obviously been yelling at his dad, that's the assumption I'd make, then she's probably right, because he's going to find out eventually, and it might be the kick up the backside that the dad needs to pull his finger out his arse and step up. So no, I don't think the OP's the a-hole. I think it's not great, and I understand where her mum's coming from, just for the sake of the kid. But yeah, no, I don't think she's done anything really wrong. I think she's just sick and tired of his behaviour, and that was the last straw. So no, not the a-hole. Original post by Gap Bulky 390. Am I the a-hole for saying no and pulling my arm away from a special needs teen? This weekend, I, 26 female, was at an amusement park that gets quite busy. I was standing, waiting for an event to start. My friend had just gone to grab snacks, when I felt something brush against my arm. I didn't think much of it, because like I said, this park gets really busy and sometimes that can happen. A few moments later, I felt another brush against my arm. I glance back real quick and see a teen, maybe 16, in a wheelchair. Shortly after, I feel a hand grab onto my arm. I pull away and try to move a little further. The teen grabs my arm again and starts patting me. I say no and pull away to leave. As I start walking away, I hear the mum, I'm assuming, yelling out that her kid has special needs and is being loving and doesn't hurt anyone. I'm pretty sure she called me ableist, but at that point I had already walked off. Am I the a-hole? I don't like being grabbed. I don't want any physical contact with someone I don't know. Should I have handled it better? It's kind of a tricky one. I'm obviously not there, but what I will say is, I understand you being uncomfortable. However, you are 26 years old, that's a teenager in a wheelchair. They shouldn't be touching you, and you're quite right to tell them not to. However, I would have maybe sensed the room, if you like. I'd have looked around to see who the parent or the carer was, because there must have been someone around. Obviously there was. And obviously said to them, look, this makes me uncomfortable. If they then give you attitude and say, well, special needs, this, that, and the next thing, that's not an excuse. And then at that point, you'd be quite within your rights for you to get, pissed off yourself. You've not done anything terribly wrong. I think you've probably not handled it great. It's clearly there's no malice in it, If a teenager in a wheelchair that's got clear disabilities, it can make you uncomfortable, but you have to then also kind of appreciate that they're obviously not mentally in the same level as yourself. So, yeah, you're not an a-hole, but yeah, could have handled it better. So, my thoughts.